There are some things that you are beating yourself up about, that you are pulling yourself apart because of, that don't even matter. And I remember when I started having these ideas of how I could help women and the different things that I can do. And I looked at other people online, and I looked at how they looked and how they dressed and how their background looked and all these different things. And I felt like I had to look like that. I had to show up like that. I had to talk like that. I had to talk fast, and I had to be all hype. And, I had to have that social media presence. And more and more as I make these videos on Instagram, on YouTube, um, and more as I meet women on Zoom, one on one, face to face, I see that they don't care. They don't care. They don't care if I'm wearing a t shirt. They don't care if I have makeup on. They don't care, because what got them to that point was essence, was authenticity, was resonance, was here's a 50-year-old woman who has been through what I'm going through, rebuilding her identity, reclaiming her vision, figuring out at this age what she's going to do with her life, rewriting her life story, and developing a strategy that's going to help me. Not so I can mimic her story, because I don't want you to mimic my story, but so I can recreate my own. And I watch women on the other side of the screen become empowered and enlightened. And they start to dream again. And they start to hope again. And they start to live before the vision even happens. Sometimes before they even put pen to paper to, formulate what that vision is going to look like, I see them come alive. And that would not have happened if I didn't get over how I look on screen, or the fact that my neck is getting wrinkly, or this blemish right here. And that's why I don't wear makeup in most of these videos, because I know there's that residue of insecurity that I have. So every single time I make a video and I'm not wearing makeup, I'm telling that insecurity to shut up. And I'm reminding myself that I am enough, just the way I am, just the way I look, because the value of what I bring is not in how I look. It's in what I carry on the inside. And I want you to know that the value of your vision is not in the image. It's not in the pictures that you post, that you glue onto that vision board. That's not the value of the vision. The value of the vision is the woman you become as a result of establishing it. It's in the healing and the growth and the impact that you're going to have, not just when you achieve the vision, but even in the process. Because you might think that you don't have influence. If you have a child, if you have friends, if you have coworkers, if you do not live under a rock and there are people who you interact with on a daily basis, whether they're in your house, on the street, or anywhere else, if there's anyone who sees you consistently, you have influence. And if you have a vision that is changing your life for the better, you are an inspiration, whether you see it or not. So I want to encourage you to be you. You are enough. God did not make a mistake with how you look, with how you sound, with what you like, with what you're good at, with what you're not good at. Because what you're good at, you can improve, and what you're not good at, you can learn. We are all built with the capacity to dream. That's one of the things that makes us human. And I've seen so many women get to that stage of 40. There's something about 40 that causes a woman to pause and go, wait a minute. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing here? What do I want? What do I need? And for too many women, that it causes paralysis, and it causes us to settle. And we say, you know what? I've gotten to this point. Let me just try to survive. Let me just coast until my life is over. Let me just make the best of it. Making the best of it is not settling. Making the best of it is creating something new. It doesn't mean you become a different person. It doesn't mean that you reinvent yourself. It doesn't mean that you need to change completely. It means that you allow the transformation that has been knocking on your heart, because you already feel it. You just don't know what to do with it. This is an invitation. It's an opportunity to become, not just strive, not just settle, not just survive, but to become. This is the adventure of womanhood. And I believe that when a woman turns 40, sometimes what happens is that for the first time in her life, she gets to choose to evolve. Because if you think about it, a lot of the time, the other things that you've been through kind of come on you. You know, from childhood to adolescence into adulthood, it's just like a kind of automatic, gradual evolution. But there's a knowing that comes when you reach a certain point in life, when you hit a certain age. There's a knowing that comes where you choose. And that evolution, it's going to hit different. And if it's not navigated well, it's a bumpy ride. So I want to encourage you, one, not to hide yourself away, because there's a difference between trying to run and hide from your evolution and retreating into a place where, if you watch that last video that I posted about the cocoon, you're retreating into a place where you're being intentional about allowing that change to happen, knowing that you're going to emerge from it, so that when you do emerge, you're emerging in the fullness of that transformational experience. You are not going to be happy with yourself You're not going to feel successful. You're not going to feel fulfilled if you ignore your own evolution. And you are not going to feel happy, and you are not going to feel successful or fulfilled if you apologize for your evolution. This change, this becoming, this awakening, whatever you want to call it, it is an invitation to become someone that you don't know. And I know that that could feel scary when you've lived for this long with this version of yourself. But this is not a threat. There are people in your life who may not understand what you're going through physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, financially, all the leads. But what's essential is that you learn how to create a safe space for yourself to go through what that evolution requires. And if you need help, that you reach out to a friend, to a minister, to a family member, to a coach, whatever level of help you need, that you reach out to someone who can help you, who can guide you. Because although the transformation is yours, you don't have to go through every aspect of it alone. And it can be a very lonely feeling to go through these types of transitions. And you feel like you're the only woman who has gone through this. And to an extent, you're right, because no one else has lived your life. But to an extent, there are many of us who have walked this road. And there are many of us who are equipped with the compassion and the strategy that you need to help you, so it doesn't feel quite so lonely and quite so confusing. So if that's you, there's a link in the bio, the description, this page, wherever you're watching this. And it's a link to a 20-minute conversation. I'll be on the other side. And I know this will help. Blessings on your journey. I'll talk to you soon.